All right, team, welcome to our Slim Jim Zoom call for the week. I am so excited for several reasons, but I am so excited for Emily Gibson, first diamond in Utah, to be here on the call with us. One, I am so excited because I can't wait for you guys to get to meet her. She is so sweet, so fun, so sincere, so fun, full of energy, and her team is kicking tail. She is one of the top credit earners every week or top BBBs every week on the leaders board, meaning her team and her 1 through 4 levels is booming, which is what we all want, right? She won Musha Key recently, so she got that trip of a lifetime. And she's already won the top prize for a leaders retreat, and we have a whole month left of that. So she is a rock star in every sense of the word. I can't wait for you guys to hear all of her wisdom. Emily, go ahead.
Okay, so gotta tell you, I'm having kind of like an out-of-body experience right now to have an introduction like that from the Tara Castaneda. Like, I don't even think you guys understand, right? So I've been doing this business for 20 months now. And when I started, I was like, I want to be Tara Castaneda one day. Like, she was my plexus idol of all idols. And when I went to convention my very first time, I walked up to her. I was so nervous and scared. I was a brand new emerald. And I was just, she and David were standing there, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, it's Tara Castaneda. Like, but I kept my cool because I did not want to come off as some crazy fangirl, right? And so I was just like, oh, hey, Tara, how are you? My name's Emily. And she was so kind. So I feel honored to be able to talk with you tonight and share a little bit about my journey. And this is just like beyond my wildest dream to be able to do this. So thank you for having me tonight, Tara. And you've been such a mentor to me through the last almost 2 years of my journey. So, okay. She's going to cry now. All the pregnancy hormones are going to just be like all crying out, but at least it's my face on the screen and not hers, right? So nobody will see it. Okay, so I thought I'd kind of share a little bit about my journey with you guys tonight so you can see why I even started Plexus and kind of understand where I'm coming from. So like Tara said, I'm from Utah. I actually was born and raised in California, but I moved here. I have a large family here in Utah. I went to elementary school here, but born in California, went to middle school, high school, and college there. And then my husband went to University of Utah for his doctorate of physical therapy. And we decided to stay here after he graduated so that we could be around family and raise our kids around family. I have a really large family. My mom has 7 siblings, and they all have lots of kids. And so my kids are growing up with their cousins, and we have this special place called the Family Yard that my uncle created where it's 8. We're not polygamist, by the way. So you can just check that off the list if you're wondering that. We are not polygamist. I am Mormon, but not polygamist. There's a big difference. And so, but all of my cousins and my uncle and my mom and my grandma, 8 houses all together share one big giant backyard. And there's a pool and a sport court and a splash pad and like every kid's dreamland. I always say it's better than Disneyland. And so we spend every day there in the summer, and I just love being around my family. They're such a huge support to me and a big part of who I am and everything I stand for. So that's kind of Utah for me is family, and I love it here. So anyway, I started Plexus 20 months ago. I had just had my 4th baby. At the time, my kids were 7, 5, 3, and 4 months old. And I did really great. It was a June baby. I was like, yes, I have beat postpartum. Like, I feel fabulous. Everything about me. I'm such a great mom. 4 kids. I'm a pro, right? And then school started, and I had a 2nd grader, a kindergartner, a preschooler, and a breastfeeding baby. And I basically got really overwhelmed really, really fast, as you can imagine. And so I started to have some late onset things happen to me. I didn't want to answer the door. I didn't want to answer my phone. I woke up with a racing heart. I was always tired, but I've been tired for, since middle school. I can remember being tired all day, all night, not sleeping well. for as long as I can remember. I also had sugar cravings that were just out of control, always morning, noon, night. I mean, if you saw my Instagram before Plexus, it was like a walking sweet tooth fairy. And that is what, I mean, I was a blogger for 8 years before I found Plexus, and I would share all of my recipes. I have a cooking show on a local show here in Utah that I share all of those treats on now. So I don't usually eat them, but it's fun to cook for people. I'm a connector through food. I love to cook for people and do all of that. So anyway, I was struggling, and I saw this girl I knew named Brooke Hemingway on Facebook. I was one of her 150 Facebook friends, and she never posted on social media, like least social person I knew in my Facebook friends, introvert to the max. And when you were around her, she was introverted as well. So it wasn't like someone where you'd be like, oh, hey girl, how you doing? She'd be like, good, great, I'm great. Just not like me, right? Very opposite of my personality. But we'd do things together once a year when her family would come here from Kauai. She lives on Kauai. I'm here in Utah, and my mom was really good friends with her, and that's how I knew her. And she started posting about Plexus and how it was helping her with pretty much everything I was dealing with. And so I reached out to her, and I was like, okay, I'll think about it. I don't know. And so anyway, after about a month of watching her, I decided to order, and it took 3 weeks for my products to come. Some sort of back office switchover happened. I don't know, maybe you guys have heard of it. And I tried to call and cancel my order 3 times because I knew I had been scammed. I told my husband, they took my money. It's been 3 weeks. I try to call. I wait on hold for 2 hours. Nobody answers. I called Brooke. I'm like, Brooke, what's going on? Like, you told me this was a trusted company. And she's over in Kauai, like, I got my stuff in 4 days. I don't know. It's probably still coming. Just hang on. And so thank goodness for the back office switchover, because had that not happened, I would not be sitting here today. I would have called and canceled my order. I just had huge buyer's remorse because at the time my husband was working 3 jobs as a doctor of physical therapy so that I could stay home with our 4 kids. And we had nothing extra to spare. We were not a family that went out to dinner. I mean, I made dinner 7 days a week, and we had a tight budget. We had about $30,000 in credit card debt. We had another $20,000 in medical bills, all of which we have paid off in the last year since I hit Emerald and then Sapphire and Diamond. And to say that this has been a blessing for our family in health and wealth is an understatement. Just to kind of backtrack a little bit. So finally my products came, and 7 days into them, I called Brooke and said, I feel nothing, and I think it's changed the color of my breast milk. And I'm impulsive, in case you haven't figured that out yet. And she just was my calm in the storm, and she still remains to be that person for me. She is one of my best friends, and she's always calming me down whenever I'm getting really worked up about something. And she said, there's no possible way it could have done that. You're totally fine. I think she knew that I was trying to talk myself out of doing it, again, because of the financial hesitation that I was having. And so anyway, she kept me on the products, and about 4 or 5 days later, I woke up one morning and I felt like I had slept for the first time in 20 years. I just felt rested. I felt electric. I was walking around my house feeling alive, and I thought, oh my gosh, that was a great night's sleep. That was just incredible. And I thought, this is not Plexus though. There's no way this is Plexus. I just got a good night's sleep. So I walked around my house, I got my kids ready for school. And then as my daughter was leaving for school, she's 5, going off to kindergarten, she looked up at me and said, Mommy, you're not mean anymore, and gave me a kiss and ran out the door. And I didn't know whether to cry or laugh, because I thought, oh my gosh, shoot, Plexus is working. That totally sucks. And number 2, it's noticeable to people who didn't even know what I was doing, because I kept it a secret from everybody in my family, right? I mean, Sean knew, but even I would go drink my drink in the pantry so nobody would see me drinking it, you guys. And I like hid the package big time. I like took the package, threw it away because I didn't want my daughter to see the old packaging. Anyway, so I walked around my house that morning and I felt just really, really good. And I'm a sharer. And I thought, oh my gosh, I got to say something on Facebook. Oh no, I'm going to have to say something on Facebook. And I texted my husband and I said, I got to say something on Facebook. And he's just like doing the emoji for this, right? Because he knows what that means with me. And so I didn't even tell Brooke. At this point, she thinks I'm still canceling. So I posted a video, and it's surprisingly compliant for a first-time poster. You can go back and watch it. It's called Fully Out of the Plexus Closet. And I just basically said, like, this is all your fault. And I tagged Brooke Hemingway. And I hadn't even met Amy Paul, because I was like, I'm not meeting a crazy girl homeschooling 7 kids. Like, she's got to be nuts. There's no way, because Brooke was like, you got to meet my friend Amy. She's so cute. I'm like, no, there's no way. She must be crazy. And so I posted the video, and then this Amy girl is like commenting on it, like what you can go read all the comments anyway. So I posted that video, didn't tell Brooke, went to go get Maxine from kindergarten. When I got home, there were 22 comments on it and 45 messages in my inbox. And what that told me was that everybody around me was feeling like crap and nobody was talking about it. And if there is anything to get me moving for a cause, it is helping the women around me be empowered. And I knew in that moment that I had people to help. And I thought, gosh, maybe I'll get my products paid for like a month. Maybe I could get a couple of friends to try this. And so I have never paid for my products since that day. I did not fast start gold or anything like that, because remember, it took 3 weeks for my stuff to come and 2 weeks for me to have results. I didn't even know about that. When I enrolled, I told Brooke, I will never share, and don't ask me. So even when you have people that say that, just be respectful and know that never means just give me 2 weeks in my case, at least. So some of the things that really helped me to be a great recruiter in those beginning phases, and that have helped me since then, I've kept those same habits, but things that really helped me to be a good recruiter were I always messaged people directly. When someone would come to mind, I took that as a prompting, and I acted on that prompting. And I'm a very spiritual person. And so for me, I really felt like I was getting impressions from a higher power for people that really truly needed this. So anytime that somebody would come into mind, I wouldn't have any fear about what would they think or what would they say, because I knew if I was getting that prompting, that it was not about me, it was about them. And so I thought, this is my job to message that person. So if I didn't have my phone on me, which I always pretty much have my phone on me, less now than I did then, actually, but back then I always had it on me. And so if a name came to mind, I just quickly send a message, just right away. I just pull up my phone and be like, oh, hey, I don't know if you saw my post, but gosh, like I've been using this thing and it's really been helping me. And I know you're always tired. It's called Plexus. Have you heard of it before? And I would just send out that message, plain simple, not vomiting everything I've ever learned about every ingredient, every product, and the amazing lifelong story. Nothing. It's just a little sentence, as if I was driving by a friend on the corner and had 20 seconds to be like, oh, hey girl, you got to try this. But instead of saying, oh, do you want to try it? I said something like, it's called Plexus. Have you heard of it before? And I love that way of connecting with people, because that shows them that you are not trying to sell them something. You've thought of them because you see a need and you're just wondering if they've heard of it before. Because if they haven't, you want to tell them about it because it's changed your life. So people that I hadn't talked to in 20 years, I felt totally comfortable sending a message like that. And I would send you guys, I don't even know because I wasn't counting. I literally was just messaging when people would come to mind. So I always tell my team at this point, 3 to 5 people a day is a really good goal. But I guarantee back then, I was probably messaging 10 to 20 people a day. And that was why I was enrolling 8 to 13 people a month, because the law of averages was working in my favor. And even now, as an established diamond, when I send out 50 messages, which I try to do once a week, I try to send out at least 50 messages, whether it's follow-up or relationship building or a true cold message. I usually get one person to respond back and maybe enroll from that bulk. And I would say that's pretty average. So for every 50 messages that you put out, on average, you might get one person to join you from that. So think about if your goal, which it should be, is to go silver every month, meaning you personally sponsor 3 new people every single month, no matter what. The month does not end until you do that. I have 2 so far this month, and gosh darn it, I will not end this month without getting one more person. Because I know, just like Tara, as a leader, we want to set that example for you because we know that's how to truly grow your business. And if that's not your goal, make that your goal from here on out. Because as long as you are personally sponsoring at least 3 people a month, whether it's ambassadors or customers, however you like to build your organization and your business, that consistency of bringing new people in every single month and then helping them to do the same is what will propel you to your next rank advancement. And if you're not doing those things, you will get stagnant and not move. And I never wanted that to happen. Now, of course, it has not been sunshine and rainbows the whole way through. I have had periods of time where I just thought, gosh, am I even going to get one person this month? Or where is my team? Where are they? Everybody feels that. There are lulls and dips in your business. Like the month of July, it's a more challenging month. But that means we just have to work a little bit harder. It doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means we have to put more effort out. And what happened when I realized that last July, as my first July in Plexus, what I realized is a lot of the messaging that I put out in July, I ended up enrolling the majority of those people in November and December because I planted the seed in July. And I know you've heard this, I'm sure, millions of times before from Tara because she's just such an incredible leader. But planting the seeds now so you can harvest them later is the key to any sort of ability you have to rank up and advance in this company. And the people who consistently build their businesses are planting seeds and ranking up, because they're planting the seeds. So I have people who, on my team right now, we are doing an IPA chat challenge group. We're basically running it once a week for an hour a week. You commit to a time, 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. We understand summer's busy. You might not always be able to commit to that time, but if you're not going to be able to commit to that time, you need to find another hour on that day. And you only get to be in the group if you're committed to that hour a day. And in that hour, you're sending out cold messages. And what I love about this is it's a Facebook thread. So in that thread, and this is helping so much with recruitment, you're rallying together as a team. We have about 30 people in the 2 p.m. one and 55 people in the 8 p.m. one. And that's what I'm doing after I get off this call is I'm doing my personal IPA with my team when I get off this call. And it holds me accountable. It holds them accountable. And we do it together. And it's so much easier when you're doing it together so that in that hour, I give assignments and I can share those with Tara so you guys can have an idea of what some of those assignments might be when this call is over. But I give assignments each week that Brooke Hemingway has masterminded most of those. And then I just pass it on to my team because why change something that is so perfect when she does such a good job of thinking ahead like this. So I will share that with them. And then For that hour, we will share, oh, this message just got a response from someone. Here, guys, here's this message. Maybe it will help you. And then that gets other people's creative juices flowing. And then they say, oh, I just sent this one. And then I just sent it to someone on my chicken list. I'm so nervous. Guys, I'm so nervous. And then everybody's coming. It's okay. You did it. Good job. It's like this hour of cheerleading every single week, and we're doing it all through July and all through August because we know that these months are more challenging, right? It's so much easier just to sit by the pool and say, I'll do it later. But really, all that's doing is making everything harder later. So excuses are lies that we tell ourselves that nobody believes except for us. Right? When somebody comes to me with an excuse, I don't believe it. I'm looking at them and they're saying, I'm just too busy. And I'm thinking, no, you're not. You're not too busy. You are making a choice to not build your business and achieve the dreams that you already know you want. So remind yourself that when you start to hear yourself making excuses, remind yourself, excuses are lies we tell ourselves that only we believe. You're just lying to yourself. And it's sabotaging your success and your goals. So get out of your own way, right? Get out of your own way and make it happen. You are the only one that's going to be able to do that. And if you want to achieve a goal, sit there and say, what do I have to do to make that goal? For example, if you right now want to earn Leaders Retreat and you think there's no possible way I'm going to do it, I'm here to tell you that's absolutely false, because I just gave a plan to a member on my team who's at 110 points right now. She came to me and said, there's no possible way that I can earn Leaders Retreat. And I said, where there's a will, there's a way. Let's talk about this right now. And we set a plan and a goal. Whether or not she is able to achieve that doesn't really matter. She's going to work for it as if her life depends on it. And at the end of next month, whether she earns Leaders Retreat or not, I guarantee she's going to have a team that's in more momentum than it is right now. And for me, that's a win. So there is absolutely no loss in trying. A perfect example of this is a Sapphire ambassador trying to win Musha Key. Nobody even saw me coming, you guys, because nobody knew my name except for maybe people in my organization. And I'm not saying that isn't a bad thing. I just had started. Like, I just wasn't somebody that anybody really knew about yet because I was so new. And I was hardworking and all of that, but I kept to myself. And so it was just, I think that anybody else, even me, when I was listening to that in Super Saturday, when they announced that trip, I'm sitting in Arizona. I went to Scottsdale with 21 people from my team here in Utah. We all went down together. And I sat in those seats and I listened to the announcement of that. And my first thought was, I'll never be able to do that. How many times do we sabotage ourselves before we even get started? I went back to my room that day. Brooke is messaging me. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. We're totally winning that trip. Are you in? And I was like, oh gosh, I had ranked Sapphire a week before, you guys. I was like, Brooke, come on. Are you serious? There's no way. I have 2,000 people on my team. There's no way I can compete up against some of these girls with tens of thousands of people in their organization. There's no possible way. And she was like, nope, you can do this. You've got this. You've got a team in momentum. She believed in me. Tara believes in each one of you. And whatever your goals are, even if they're big and scary, you can do it. And I am living proof of that, right? So all of those, by 2 weeks into January, Brooke finally had me convinced. And I thought, okay, fine. Maybe we could do this. I guess I'll try. I was worried about being embarrassed of trying and failing in front of my team. I was worried about making it and having to go on a private jet that I was for sure it was going to crash in the Caribbean. And I was going to leave my kids homeless, why can't I think of the word? Not homeless, orphaned. Like I was terrified of these two things the whole entire way through, right? So I was scared to not win it, because I was going to be so embarrassed that I tried to do something and didn't earn it. And I felt shame about that. If you have ever heard of the book, Brene Brown's book, Daring Greatly, one of my favorite books, and really helped me to identify a lot of my own issues that I need to work through so that I could overcome my fears and just dare greatly and do the things that you really want to do. And then I was afraid to earn it because I thought I was going to die on a plane, and then I'd be so embarrassed that I was just so head over heels in life that I earned this trip. Like, it's so crazy to me how our minds work. Isn't it so crazy? And we do this to ourselves, and then it gets in our way of us being successful. And it's like we feel badly for being successful when you get there sometimes too. I don't know, maybe I'm the only one that feels that way, but it's so crazy to me how that happens. So that for me was a big struggle all through the contest, through the convention contest, was this inner struggle that I had within myself. And it was all fear-based. And one thing that I want to tell you today is if you are afraid, you are no different than anyone else in this whole entire world. And having courage is not the absence of fear. Having courage is fear being there and moving forward despite of it. So if you are afraid, that is a great, great emotion to drive you, because that fear is so powerful in creating courage within you that you don't even know exists. And it will drive you into achieving great things. And you are the one who decides what those great things are. You decide what you really want. And whether, if you believe in God, I want you to say a prayer tonight and pour your heart to him and tell him what you really, really want. If you believe in a different spiritual power, or you're not religious, but you like to connect with something of a higher power or something like that, I want you to write down what you really, really want in life. This is something that Brooke Hemingway forced me to do, right? Write down what you really want and do not hold back. Write it down. If it's something your heart desires, whether it's worldly or not, I want you to write it down. And then I want you to find someone who is close to you in your life, a trusted confidant, and I want you to tell them what you really want. And it has to be the right person. You have to find someone that you feel safe telling. Maybe Tara's that person. Maybe it's your sponsor. Maybe it's your husband. Maybe it's your best friend. Maybe it's, I'd really like it to be a human. I'd prefer it not be an animal or something like that. I think it'd be more powerful if it could be like a human being, because then you have that, human connection, and that's really powerful with something like this. And you tell them, like, this is really what I want. And Plexus, I promise you, whether it's monetary or something different than that, maybe it's, philanthropic, whatever it is, Plexus will help you achieve it. Because if there's one thing that I've learned about this company, it's that it gives you an avenue for so many jumping points and changing so many lives and being that ripple effect in people's lives. And if you are afraid to recruit new people, and, I've shared some of these recruitment things for you, just privately messaging people. I feel like Facebook posting is a follow-up to that. And it's a really ineffective follow-up because it's not direct, but it's meaningful, and you should be posting on Facebook every day about Plexus and every day about your personal life. There should not go a day where you miss those things. I've not missed a day in 20 months. I think that's also contributed to my success. And then I would also recommend making sure that, again, you know what you're in this for, because you are here. Kristen Weir did a call for us a few months ago, and she said something to me that resonated, and I will never forget it. And she said, you are here at this very time with this very sponsor on this very team for a purpose. And there are no mistakes, no coincidences. There's a reason why Brooke Hemingway is my sponsor. There's a reason why my mom met her when she moved to Kauai for 4 years. Had Brooke not been that ripple effect in my life, we would be in $30,000 of credit card debt. We would have probably more by now because it's been 2 more years. So we probably would have had another 20,000 on top of there at the rate we were going. We would have had our medical debt. My husband would still be working Saturdays. The biggest blessing the biggest financial blessing that Plexus has brought us has not been an amount of income. The biggest blessing Plexus has brought us is on Saturday mornings, I wake up next to my husband lying in bed next to me. That was my driving why. When I first started and I saw people needing these products, and I thought maybe I could get my products paid for, but my big scary dream was, what if I could make $1,000 a month and Sean could stop working Saturdays? I felt like I was raising our kids by myself, you guys. And he was missing out on all of it, all the t-ball games, all the soccer, and I was going batty doing that all by myself too. So I was done. And him being home with us every Saturday morning, I wake up and I praise God that he is there with us. And no matter whatever struggle I've gone through over the last 20 months, friends who have unfriended me on Facebook, neighbors who won't look me in the eye, all those things seem so big when we are looking only at them. But when I see beyond that and I see the thousands of friends this has brought into my life and the quality relationships that I never had before, and my husband being home with us more than he has ever been able to be with us, those are the things that I say, you know what? Every job has things that are not fun. When I was a school teacher, I did not like cleaning up after a second grader that peed their pants in their desk. That was not fun. I did not like going to staff meetings. There were so many things that I didn't, and then go back to jobs in college that I had. I didn't like to work a 12-hour shift and get paid $8 an hour. I didn't like to be on the phones talking to angry customers. Any job you've ever had, there are things you don't like about it. So you're going to have things you don't like in your Plexus job. And even as a mom, there are things I don't really like to do as a mom. There's a lot of things I love to do, but I wouldn't say I wish I didn't have kids because I don't like to, wipe a 5-year-old's butt or clean up poop that he's pooped in his underpants, right? Like that's a part of the job I just simply didn't love. I didn't love being nauseous and pregnant. But guess what? I had 4 kids. Because I knew that what was at the end of that pregnancy was amazing. And it was worth all of it. And now I'm crazy thinking about having another one. We've got Brooke and Tara over here, like having pregnancy glow. And I'm thinking, gosh, maybe I should have one more. And my poor husband's like, please, no, please, we're good. We're done. Because boys, they don't have that forward thinking sometimes, right? Which is why a lot of the times maybe your struggle might be your husband's not quite on board with this yet. And that's totally normal. So if that's your struggle right now, maybe your husband's not on board with this great idea of Plexus that you have, that's okay, because I promise they will come around. And it might take till you're sitting on the beach with them in Kona, but they will come around, I promise. And sometimes we have to have faith for people before they have it themselves. And sometimes, almost all the time, you have to do things you don't want to do so you can do the things that you want to do. And that's true for everything in life. This is just one more personal development thing that you get to do, and we get to get paid for it. I mean, where else do you get to be paid for personal development and do it with your friends? You know, I mean, I never had this much fun as a school teacher, ever. This is so much more fun. Okay, so I would say I want to talk a little bit more about my biggest struggle I went through as a Plexus ambassador. And it's happened to me twice now. And I've identified why it's happening now. A year ago, I couldn't really figure out why. Now I know I just could never homeschool my kids. I've realized now if I homeschooled my kids, they would be illiterate or dead. And that is called summer vacation here in the Gibson House of Chaos. And so summer is not my favorite time. Last summer was particularly difficult because, so I joined Plexus in November of 2015. That's when I went silver. And then I ranked emerald in May, 6 months later. And then I hit sapphire 7 months later in December, and diamond in April of this year. And when I made emerald in 6 months, I woke up one day very unhappy. I felt depressed again. I felt overwhelmed. I didn't want to get out of bed. I felt like I was kind of a fraud living in this emerald, have a car and trips to Hawaii body. And I thought, how can I be unhappy? I have everything I could have ever wanted, everything we've ever dreamed about, we have. And I'm sitting here unhappy. I have 4 beautiful children. I have a good home and a husband that loves me. Why am I unhappy? And it was because I was so overwhelmed about not knowing how to do my job. And maybe that happened to you when you posted on Facebook the first time and you got some messages. Maybe that happened to you when a person that you sponsored went through some pretty bad detox and you thought, oh my gosh, I can't handle this. It's too much. You know, maybe it didn't take you as long to get to the point of total burnout where I was, or maybe you're feeling that way right now. But what I want to tell you is, you are going to have those moments in your life, whether you're in this business or not. I had that feeling after I had my first baby. I had that feeling after I had my second baby. I had that feeling after my third baby. I did not have it after my fourth baby, but again, it came later. But it's anytime you have change in your life, you're going to feel those overwhelming shifts. And it's what you do with that energy that determines your happiness. So I decided that in that struggle, I was going to turn inward and I was going to commit more of my time to God in the morning. Instead of going to my phone first thing in the morning, I decided I'd go to my scriptures and prayer. And then maybe I would get dressed and like maybe go pee before I opened my phone. Just a thought. I don't know if you struggle with that at all, but you know, go to the bathroom, maybe get my pink drink, maybe even wait till I eat breakfast. And you know, sometimes I think we forget that when you work from home, you don't wake up at work. It's okay to get ready for an hour and look your kids in the eyes for an hour and maybe, you know, have some time one-on-one with your husband or whatever. I mean, summer is less busy than the school day. The school day, we're up and it's just like go, 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 go. But if you're finding that you're waking up in the morning and you're thinking, gosh, I don't want to even look at that phone. It stresses me out. I feel like I just want to suffocate. Then I would say to you, turn inward and think, you know, what could I do for myself to pour into myself for a minute? How could I fill my cup before I start this day so that I can, when I go to that phone, I can be present and there at that time? And then what I would motivate you to say, whether you're struggling now or not, there will be a point in your plexus career, even after you hit diamond, where you will have those mornings and you'll wake up and be like, I don't even want to touch that thing over there. But what I would say to you is what you say when you talk to yourself really does matter. And every morning before you open up that phone, say to yourself, I am great at solving problems. I love to solve them, and I always know just what to do. And you do not open your phone until you've said that out loud 3 times. I am great at solving problems. I love to solve problems, and I always know just what to do. Because you are capable of this, and you can really handle anything that you put your mind to. And it's not like a real person yelling at you. It's just a phone. Right? So really, it sometimes we make up in our mind that it's this big thing that's just weighing down on us. It's a device, right? Like it's not even alive. It feels alive, but it's not. Okay? And so maybe you need to turn it off for an hour if you're feeling crazy with your phone, right? So maybe just turn it off, maybe put it in airplane mode. I really feel like Tamara Holloway, I used to say, oh, we need business hours. And Tamara Holloway said, no. You need family time. You need to schedule your family time and then work your business outside of that family time. But when you're with your family time, put your phone in airplane mode. These are all things that have helped me during times of struggle. The only other thing I would say is how to rank. So Tara, can you tell me a little bit, like, do we have other jewels on this call, or these mostly gold, senior golds, rubies, senior rubies?
Yeah, we have a good mixture of everyone on this call, but I would say a good mixture is silver to ruby. most likely. And then we've got a handful of higher ranked leaders.
Awesome. Okay. So I don't know if you guys have a formula for this yet, but it's something that we kind of take for granted. Do you guys have the formula that we use to project how many people you need to add this month to know what you're going to rank next month? Do you guys know how to figure out your point average and do all that?
If you're my level 1 or 2 that I talk to, we definitely go over that. But I would love for you to share your wisdom on that to the team. I've definitely talked about it, but there's always someone that doesn't know, right? So if you want to touch on that, I'd love for you to do that.
So basically, the way that you would determine your point average, and this is so key, I think. I mean, I'm not a planner. I don't like to think ahead, but I've had to raise that level. I've had to raise my lid in this business to be successful and do some of those things that are outside of my comfort zone in order to rank up. And this is one of them, really, is learning how to project where you want to be and create that movement in this current month so that when you propel into next month, you hit that goal. And I know Tara's really good at this because, hello, like she just keeps going up in those ranks in her second leg like hotcakes. And so when you do that, you go into your back office basically, and you say, let's say you have 75 people in your back office, and 15 of those, we'll say 20 of those are white lines, meaning people that aren't ordering or aren't giving you points. So then you would subtract those 20 people from your back office, and that would leave you with 55 people that are giving you credit. And so that would basically mean that you would be set up to rank senior gold the following month if you had that type of a thing. Now, I would say you always want to have between 5 to 10 people extra going into the month you want to rank, because we can't control attrition sometimes, meaning we can't control the people who turn off their orders or decide to skip a month or, want to go slower with their products or whatever. And so I always try to overshoot by, I would say from silver to, gold, senior gold, and ruby, I try to overshoot between 10 to 15 people. And then beyond that, when you get into the upper ranks, it's a little bit different because you have such large teams that you really have to know what your point average is. And so the way that you do that is, and I can share the equation that we have too, Tara, I can message it to you so you could share it with them. But basically, you go and you count how many people are in your levels 1 through 3. And then you count up that and you multiply that by 5 because you're getting 5 points from them. And then you go and you count how many people are your level 4s. And then you'd multiply that by 4. And then you go through and you count how many people are in your levels 5. Whatever it is, however deep your levels go, you're going to separate them. And you can very easily do that by going into your detailed genealogy and clicking on the down arrow there to basically filter out your levels. I'm sure that if you are Excel savvy, there would also be an easier way to do that in Excel, but that's not my favorite place to be. While I do use it and do find it very useful at times, you can also just simply do it in your detailed genealogy. And then you would take all of those together, and that would give you a number that you would be getting points from of all those active people. And then you would divide that by, why can't I remember the next step, Tara?
You're going to divide it by the number of active ambassadors that you have.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. So divide that by 55, because if you have 55 actives, then that's going to give you a point average. And so let's just say that number is 4.5. Meaning you are on average getting 4.5 points when a convenience order processes. So that you can say, okay, it's so important when you're up in those Ruby and senior Ruby levels because your levels are more deep, right? So when you're setting up for senior Ruby, you might have 500 people in your organization, and you take out all the white lines and you say, okay, I have 200 people who are active times 4.5. That's going to help you see, oh my gosh, okay, I'm going to end with this many points at the end of the month. Or I only have 120 active ambassadors. Multiply that by 4.5. Okay, I'm going to be this many points short. divide that by 4.5, and that gives me, I need to add 45 ambassadors before the month ends so I can set up to be Senior Ruby next month. So I wish I would have had a whiteboard to do that with you guys, because I'm so visual. Probably all my visual people are like, yeah, that just went right over my head. But just, watch the recording later and you can write it down. So anyway, those are things that have really helped me to develop some of the leaders on my team and get some great rank ups going. And we have a big month this month in our team. And so it's really helped us to kind of know where we're going and know how to plan it out. And if you don't know if you are going to qualify for Leaders Retreat, I want you to take the email that you got yesterday and go to your sponsor. And if they're not working, go to their sponsor. And if they're not working, go to their sponsor. Find someone that's working the closest to you. Don't just message Tara if you're her level 5. Don't just message her. Go up the ladder in the right order. Make sure you talk to the people in the right order, and they can include Tara if needed. But then you say, okay, my points are at 250 or wherever they are. Is it possible for me to earn Leaders Retreat? Yes. And then they're going to show you how. They're going to find your real-time points, because those points were from active ambassadors from the 15th. So they're going to go and see if you've had anyone join your team since then. They're going to give you the real-time points. And then they're going to tell you how many ambassadors you need to join your team from now until then. And whatever it takes, you make that happen, because being at Leaders Retreat will change your business. And as a leader, it's your responsibility to get yourself there for the quality of your team. And it's not about you, although it is going to be really fun for you. It's about getting that training for your team. So I hope hope I've helped with some of the things wanted tonight, Tara, and I don't know if you have any questions or anything.
Oh, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. I want to reiterate a couple of your points, if that's all right. Basically, guys, what she has explained in the latter part of this recording, to put it simply, is you have to know where you're going to get where you want to be. Right? You can't just blindly work your business. I talk about it all the time about goals. Know how many more ambassadors you need on your team. If you don't know how to do this, if what she just said confused you, that's okay. It's confusing. Get with your upline so that they can work with you. But if you're just working blindly toward a goal, whether that's gold or ruby or Leaders Retreat, and you're just chugging along, when you don't have a direction or a path or a guide or step-by-steps, you're oftentimes going to miss your goal because you don't know what you need, right? So have a plan and execute that plan. That is what Emily was really focusing on there, which I so appreciate. And again, if you guys don't understand what she was talking about as far as projecting your points, get with your upline. If they don't know, get with their upline. If they don't know, contact me. I'm kind of a freak about numbers and Excel, and I would be happy to share with you. So I do it all the time. So yes, and same with Leaders Retreat. Thank you so much, Emily, for all of your knowledge. Would you be open for a quick Q&A? Let's see if we have any questions.
Sure, of course.
Okay, I'm going to open it up. Let's see. If you have a question, just type it in the chat box or unmute yourself and go ahead and ask. But I want to get your information, Emily, on the IPA challenge and the activities. I love that. We've been trying to do power hours here and there, but I love the IPA challenge as well. That's fantastic.
So fun. It's so fun.
Wonderful, wonderful. Does anybody have any questions? I'm not seeing any chats, but let me see. Raise your hand. I just put
not all at once, please. It's so overwhelming.
She doesn't
all ask at once.
If anybody has any questions. All right, I don't see anybody tonight, but this was fantastic. Thank you so much. And I just want to congratulate you on your wild success. I think one thing that I'm also hearing from you is success loves speed, right? Yeah. And I can feel a sense of momentum coming from you. It's an energy coming from you. And I think momentum on our teams and within ourselves is not something that happens to us. It's something that we create. And it starts within us. And so I can sense from you, Emily, you've got to drive, and you're like, okay, we're going to make it happen. And the faster that you can personally recruit, guys, and help your team to recruit, then the faster your team sees that success, and the more success you gain, right? The more business builders you're going to gain because they're seeing your success. So it's kind of keep up with that pace, and always shoot for silver. That's a perfect yes. I've hit my 4 this month. I'm hoping for 2 more. So guys, keep running. And I just want to say thank you so much, Emily. You were fantastic.
Welcome.
Thank you
for having me.
Bye, guys.
Bye.